website portal is experiencing an outage, and the White House press secretary this afternoon was not able to say whether Medicaid would be affected or not. So let's just walk through this, because obviously there's confusion. Is this pause going to affect Medicaid?
Any service that the government is required to provide, does not affect any entitlement, does not affect any service to citizens, does not affect any individual benefit, any public assistance program, or anything of that nature.
Okay, so that's
very glad for the chance to explain what's going on here. In fact, I can actually give you some backstory I think you'd find very useful, Jake. So we found after the president had issued a pause on funding to NGOs that were settling illegal immigrants, we found that bureaucrats at HHS were trying to funnel billions more dollars to those resettlement agencies and try to get around the executive order. It became clear that bureaucrats were still trying to funnel unapproved discretionary grants of funds to their pet projects. So OMB, led by necessary to protect taxpayer resources, to issue clearer guidance establishing for these discretionary grants of funding that are not directed by Congress, that they go through a political approval process.
So let's get into that, because a number of government-funded organizations, so these are organizations like Meals on Wheels, right? Their job, their mission, it's a private organization. They get grants from the federal government. They feed seniors. Meals on Wheels is currently in the dark. They don't know, does this order affect us? Does this mean we're not going to have any more funding coming in? They feed like 2 million seniors. So I'm just wondering, first of all, why a pause? An investigation, sure, I get that. Auditing, sure.
What about
why a pause?
Once you spend money, you can't get it back. So, in other words, if you don't put federal programs under review that are wasteful or harmful to taxpayers, and then people hit send, you wouldn't believe the payments we've had to pause over the last few days with bureaucrats trying to funnel money out of the door. Funnel money to the World Health Organization, funnel money to resettlement organizations, funnel money to foreign countries. And so, of course, you have to put a pause on these discretionary grants of funding and have a political review process. In other words, there are people that are accountable to the taxpayer to review. It does not include, the review process does not include any public benefit program. So you mentioned Wheels on Wheels. That is a public benefit program. OMB has been clear about this. Jake, we have to get control over this government. You understand this point about NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Joe Biden gave just one NGO responsible for resettling illegal aliens $3 billion, with the B, $3 billion. President Trump, when he said drain the swamp, he meant it. And yes, so those kinds of spending programs are going to be put
anybody out there that provides school lunches, anybody out there that
helps benefit programs, full stop, as OMB has made clear. And I want to really drill down on this, Jake, because it's so important. There's 2 million employees in the federal government. Overwhelmingly, the career federal service in this country is far. I'll give you a great example. We looked at USAID as an example. That's 98% of the workforce either donated to Kamala Harris or another left wing. I'm saying, just as an example, there are 2 million employees in the federal government. They're overwhelmingly left of center. The American people, I gotta finish the sentence. I gotta finish the sentence. The American people voted for dramatic change implemented by Donald Trump. So it is essential for him to get to establish a whole of government process for Donald Trump's political appointees to review discretionary grants of spending for pet projects that are not directed by Congress. So these are pots of money where Congress hasn't said how to spend it or where to spend it. This might be something like saying, I want to build a $500 million fountain in the courtyard of the Department of Commerce. This might be something like saying, I want to fund gender studies in Afghanistan. There has to be political control and review. I can't help it if left-wing media outlets published a fake news story that caused confusion.
Don Bacon, a Republican, a Trump supporter, we just interviewed him. He said that there was a lot of confusion. He said that
created by the media, Jake. The OMB guidance memo, if you read it, false story cleared out. It responded to. It's unfortunate that people put out a false story. That's what
Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski said, quote, nobody really knows how long, unquote, this review of these federal funds is going to last. And she said it's, quote, been a big challenge, unquote, to get answers from the Trump administration. So here's an opportunity. How long is this review going to take? And when does the federal funding for these programs resume?
The original executive order that addressed NGOs, foreign aid, and other grants, that was a 90-day review process, as you know, Jake. But again, more fundamentally, I think we're missing the big point here. Do you believe, does anyone believe, that an unaccountable, career-tenured bureaucrat should be able to approve vast sums of money for the projects that they personally agree with, that no accountable employee in the federal government has reviewed? Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you, as the memo says, in black and white letters, no financial benefit programs to Americans are affected. No individual assistance programs are affected. It's there in black and white.
Yeah.
We always knew that the media was going to spit up fake stories to try to create controversy, to try to create scandal. I'm not
Moving
saying
out of your
leadership.
parents' house is a government psyop. Watch this.
If you have 10 members of a family, and they all scatter to the four winds, where they hardly, at least a half hour apart from each other, or more, 2 hours apart, states apart, and they will not see each other anymore, and they're going to pay 10 different sets of rent, 10 different sets of utilities, 10 different sets of groceries, 10 different sets of everything, then what are they going to do? They will live alone in these apartments or in these small structures. They will desperately crave connection with strangers. They will spend tons of money on escapist entertainment. The research actually shows the average American spends about 5 years of their life on escapist entertainment. Now, that was before COVID. We need to actually update that information for after COVID now. But the average person, their depression is off the charts.
I understand. Everyone's still fired up about the Doge rebate that everyone hopes we get, which there's no guarantee on that yet. But I sat down with my wife and we're going through the bills, and I was looking at my paycheck, and I realized between my taxes out of my home and the taxes out of my paycheck, I pay almost $2,000 a month in taxes. That's more than the mortgage on my house and the car payment and my credit card bills. $2,000 a month. If we just got the money back from our taxes, we'd all be doing a hell of a lot better. This isn't fair. $2,000 a month, and I mean, I don't make a shit ton of money, but people that make a lot of money, you must be paying a lot of money in taxes. And if we could get that money back, could you imagine? Nobody'd be in debt anymore. The only reason why we're in debt is because we pay so much absorbent amount of taxes. This is absurd. Sit down and figure it out. Per month, per year. If you had that money back, you wouldn't have debt no more. You wouldn't be broke anymore. You wouldn't be struggling anymore.
The Department of Education does not educate a single child in America. It does not run a single school. It does not pay a single teacher salary. Some people are concerned about what eliminating the department might mean for students, despite the fact that their track record is terrible and it hasn't improved outcomes. You know, what about protections for, say, groups of kids with special needs, for example? I would note that the Education for All Handicapped Children Act was signed into law in 1975. It provides protections for kids with special needs. It predates the creation of the department. That goes nowhere. Spending for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDA, that would move over to HHS. So that goes nowhere. The same would likely happen with Title I spending for low-income districts. It could be managed by HHS. Data collection, send it over to Commerce. Let the Census Bureau handle it. Student loans, send it to the Small Business Administration or the Treasury Department. So there are more appropriate receiving agencies where you could keep intact some of the appropriate functions of the department, but not actually have the infrastructure that is that massive bureaucratic boondoggle that Carter created. The Department of Education does not educate a single child in America. It does not run a single school. It does not pay a single teacher salary.
How do you know when it's demonic activity?
Most of the time for me, whenever I see people that were dealing with demons, sometimes I smell them on them. The smell, the smell would just be a stench on them. Another thing is sometimes people that I know become avoided of me. Whenever they're needing deliverance, they may start getting distance. Whenever I see them, they can barely look me in the eyes. It becomes secretive because the devil dwells in secret. So this person that used to tell me everything, all of a sudden is not telling me anything. Even if they're trying to look at you, their eyes will keep dancing or what have you. I looked at his hands and I said, "You got murder in your hands." And yeah, I told him I was out on a date with the guy. Matter of fact, and the Lord said, "So
It was over.
It was over." I was like, "Yeah, no, this ain't over." I said, "You got murder in your hands," and he was like, "What?" I said, "I could literally see you hovering over a woman, choking her." And he was like, "I never killed anybody." I said, "I'm not saying you did it. I'm saying I can see it." I said, "You need deliverance. You got murder in your hands. You got murder in your hands." And so sometimes, in most cases, come your Holy Spirit alerting you. Her Holy Spirit alerting you.
How can we become more sensitive? Like, I guess discernment. Because in scripture it talks about this kind does not come out, but with fasting and prayer. Is fasting the route to greater discernment?
Yes.
Test his courage, but little did he know he was about to face a real nightmare.
Begitu banyak orang aku taruh di depan tenda aja.
The camera captured something strange. An unknown entity was was watching him all night, hiding in the darkness. At around 2 a.m., he reviewed the footage and saw what looked like a witch standing behind him. Realizing his bravery test had failed spectacularly, he panicked and tried to run, but it was already too late. The witch was now following him.
Ready now, and roll.
You can't help but envy their reactions and smooth teamwork. How much time do they need to train together to get this synchronized?
Who believes any random stranger would gladly kiss her.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit. Okay?
So, I had a date today, and I just need to vent. My date didn't show up, and everything was fine. I've been talking to a girl. I'm only interested in dating women. I'm not interested in dating men. And this morning we were texting back and forth, and I told her I was a trans woman, and she acted like she was fine with it. But I can't help feeling like the reason she didn't show up today is because of that. And it's just my opinion, but I don't think that's okay. I don't think it's okay to not date someone simply because of who they are or how they identify.
Is this satire? This has to be the biggest joke. Maybe this is the most delusional woken. There are too many of them. They all deserve the award.
Transgender woman. I am a wolf theory and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this fear of wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen and somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous.
So I was a volunteer with the preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of wolf communication?
I'm not comfortable doing so.
She's 27 years old and has taken Halloween way too seriously. You communicate with wolves. We saw Batman at 10 and tied tablecloths around our necks. One is standing on skyscrapers today and waiting for the city to call. Get some help.
There was like really bad experience. They were just getting a drink at the bar and they called the night ladies and they were I mean, it came out so bad.
So somebody get her a tissue. If it's okay that the bartender didn't know, just get your drink and move on with your life. What is a woman? Let's hear what these species had to say.
Anyone who wants to identify themselves as a woman.
Oh man. Anyone who wants to identify as a woman. A woman is a biological female or someone who completely transitions into a woman. Biological female, but I also agree because there's women, but there's also trans women. Socially, I think they can be. If you're presenting fully, it doesn't matter what's down there. That's, I guess, you and your partner's business. If you're presenting fully, then...
Can you be a black man?
Can I?
Yeah.
No.
Can you center up? Why not?
Because I'm not.
What if you present yourself as being one?
I mean, if I'm fully committed, that would be blackface. Yeah, like if I literally could become one, sure. Like, all I'm saying is that...
What do you mean, become one? What do you mean by that?
Okay, wait. What I'm saying is that if there is a person, or a trans woman, just going about their day, whatever, and didn't know that they were a trans woman, I would say socially that they could be considered a woman just for the sake of just having an easy. I'm not gonna...
So, if I showed up at a party and I pulled a rabbit out of a hat, does that mean that socially I could do magic? Or would I just be presenting an illusion?
I think a little bit of both. If you could trick people, I'm not saying that it's not.
If you can trick people, right, if you can trick them. So it wouldn't change the fact of the matter, it would be a trick.
No.
So if you presented yourself as a black man, would that be the fact of the matter, or would it be a trick?
It would, I guess, be a trick. I can't physically become a black man.
Well, then how come a man can physically become a woman ever, or a woman physically become a man?
I think surface level they can. Like they can.
Well, what does that mean, though? That just means that they're tricking you, right?
Yes, definitely. Just tricking
so what you're saying is that there are some people out there who can trick you into believing a thing which is not true.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then if that's the case, then I agree.
Oof, don't you just love when they accidentally say the truth? Well, we agree too. It's all one big trick.
Did you damage the sign?
Do I have it on video?
No, dude.
I can see that you guys have it on video. So what's happening?
So here's the damage. So are we present?
Yes, yes. Destruction of private property. Yep. After good behavior, 6 months in community service, the judge will drop it. No, next.
Because of the color of your skin? Dude, it's happened many times. Hey, guess what? I got pulled over too. You're never gonna know it because you don't look like me, man. Wait, you're never gonna have to show my struggles. Wait, so, I mean, this is the problem. I'm just gonna give you a piece of advice. Honestly, you complimented me and Candace Owens. You're looking at the world as a victim. Okay, you're looking at the world as if there's systemic racism and the evil white man was trying to crush you. It's a lie. It's a lie that is designed to keep you down. It's a lie that is designed to try and disempower you.
It looks like a certain someone has watched too many movies.
Just do your protest on the pedestrian sidewalk, will you?
Are you voting for Trump? Yeah. White supremacist. How? How can you say that? How can I say if you vote for Donald Trump, you're a white supremacist? How? How? Because you support that man in office. That's not an argument. I'm going to need proof that makes me a white supremacist. You're going to have to break down the argument. It's not my job to say that. You just accused me of being a white supremacist. You should be able to back that up. Are you voting for Donald Trump? I sure am. That's my proof. Are you voting for Joe Biden? Yes, I am. And you're a pedophile. No. Yes, you are.
If you can't take the heat, get out of the hot kitchen. This Wokey was very interested in labeling the female reporter, and the reporter did the very same. If you can dish it out, you should be able to take it. LOL. Just LOL.
You're hurting me!
Why is it making that sound? Anyway, that's just another person that got what they deserve. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ours. Hope they have more water in jail.
Are your hats free?
No.
They're not?
No.
I thought you supported socialism. Free everything.
Probably.
Why do you call it a hat?
No, what is this like? Oh, I thought you supported socialism. I also support surviving in a country where I don't have health care. Oh, my face, you freak.
Please don't scream at me. I haven't raised my voice.
I don't care if you raise your voice. It doesn't make you sound like
That was kind of scary.
no, you should be scared. You should be scared. Because you're a piece of I don't know. You talk to your doctor about your health problems, and if my health problems, you need my doctor and get the government out of here. Who's your stranger? Stranger? Get the fuck out of here.
I never said I wanted to look at her.
You only like white supremacy people think you just talk calmly, you seem normal. Why is that? Because you're psycho.
You didn't even have to do anything. The more she opened her mouth, the deeper she dived into the mud. Ma'am, have some dignity. Okay, but did you see her face? Someone is about to become a meme.
In your court, what matters more? The rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked a question. What matters more?
My political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't... And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who is a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so it's a 9-year-old boy. He also did a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty, the petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
And he was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child